Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, and this is just a part of multiple videos that we are making today because we've had a lot to go over for the Eve Universe show. So if you want to check out the whole thing, the big video will be on there, or if you're just watching this video by itself, then you can check out the other video topics on the YouTubes. That being said, we are now going to be talking about Hoboleaks and some of the newer stuff that we think / know are going to be coming. And just real quick, Riley, we've already done a response to the Pulse video and a response to the Scope video, so you can go check those out as well. So here we have a bunch of newer stuff that were patched in 8 hours ago, which is this morning, Friday, October 15th. What we're seeing here is basically what we're going to be going over today is the Crimson Harvest and a little bit more about the Edencom stuff and the Roadrunner stuff that seems to be boiling up. So, first of all, we get new Deathglow Remnant skins. These are, the Halloween skins. All of them say that they apply directly, which generally speaking means that they are either a login reward or the track, as you do the event, you work your way through the track, these are the skins that you get. That's when they do these applies directly ones. However, we also get these Ironblood skins, which, golly, Ironblood skins are awesome. I love these. I hope that so chances are, either these are the track rewards. One of these two are for doing the event, and the other one's likely for the login rewards. I'm really hoping that it's the Ironblood skins that will be for the login rewards, because Ironblood skins for Kur, Ashimu, and Balgorn would just be sexy. Hold on, let me show those off a little bit. I can't show you those because I'm on Tranquility right now, but I can show you Ironblood in general. Ironblood was a skin that came out actually for about the time of, I think, the first Crimson Harvest, first or second, and I was really hoping to collect these, but as it turns out, that's when they put out the Black Iron or whatever, those skins, and those were collectible. So most of these skins were either extraordinarily difficult to get or completely ungettable, which sucks, because as far as skins go, maybe not compared to some of the newest skins, but at least for their time, they were some of the coolest skins that were out there. They are a Blood Raider skin that also changes the lighting and stuff, which is more common now, but was this was one of the first ones that did this kind of thing. And they just look really sick compared to, I like that red a little bit more than the Rada. It's slightly darker. I love Ironblood skins. So the idea that we're going to get them for the Blood Raider ships, I love it. I love it. Okay, so then we also have normal Blood Raider skins for the Amarr, for some Amarr ships. These could also be login rewards. Hard to say. There's a lot of stuff, isn't there? And then there's Artichaper and Sorum skins. So this leads into what I think is going to be happening in this, and we'll look at more of the clues too, which is that just like last year, there's going to be two ways of doing it, right? So last year, you could either go and fight Blood Raiders, which had one sort of reward, and then you could also go after the Silver Flame, which was a Dust Corporation mercenary group that was associated with the Amarr. Actually, it's Sorum's military group, if I remember correctly. And at the time, it was kind of just shoot in there. I suspect that it was used because at the time, Flosiswin and Sorum and all that stuff was very applicable. And you see how Sorum skins here. But we also see another group, the Order of St. Tetramon. We've seen Order of St. Tetramon stuff being put in the files over the last couple of months. And now we see why. So now it looks like there's going to be 3 different groups associated with this. Because here's the Harvest, which is the Blood Raiders. Here's Tetramon. And never mind, it may just be Blood Raiders versus Tetramon. I thought I saw Nope. Yeah, it's just Blood Raiders versus Tetramon. So chances are you will have to, whichever one you choose will give you different rewards. I don't know whether or not, like, they may make it so it's two different tracks, like they did with, like, Mimitar, where you have to choose one side or the other, and that means something. They might do that, but in a lot, like, at the very least, it looks like basically what they've done is they've taken last year's event and repurposed it as being Tetramon instead of the Silver Flames. And so, for instance, so by that, we can assume that there'll be two different kinds of sites. There'll be a combat site and there'll be a hacking site. That these key cards will be able to be gotten probably in the hacking site. And basically, there's two different gates, and this key card allows you to skip ahead, right? Because the idea is that, like, obviously the final boss is the grand prize. So by using this key card, you can get on the inside where the boss is before your opponent can. And so this represents kind of like a different way of having an edge in these kinds of sites. So there'll be, in this sense, there's Blood Raider sites and there's Tetramon sites. For the Blood Raider sites, it was direct payouts and there was, like, overseer effects because, they're pirates. For the Tetramons, there was blank clones, or there was, war clones that you would then take because, special, or not special task group, but Silver Flames are, dust mercs, basically. And so you would take those war clones to Blood Raider systems and sell and turn them into them. So here we see new drugs. So we see Nosferatu boosters that boosts to your Nos usage, cycle time, which is pretty good. Also bonus to capacitor, armor resistance booster, energy turret optimal range and tracking booster, energy warfare resistance booster, which is kind of interesting. So this is basically taking this is almost the equivalent of having a cap battery on your ship when it comes to reducing the amount of drain that a neutralizer does to you. Web of Fire range bonus. These are always cool. We got one of those in one of the previous events, but obviously the Blood Raiders are well known for their additional range in their webs. So this makes sense. And when combined, but the one thing that is worth noting is that unlike most of these, this is not a percentage. This is just raw number. So if you take this will give you about a 15k cold web with like a T2. But it doesn't, like, unfairly bias to the people who have, like, pushed their webs to, like, 300 million ISK to be able to go to 15, right? 15 will just go to 20. Which is a third bonus, whereas 10 will go to 15, which is half bonus, if that makes sense. Energy turret damage. So we have tracking, we have application bonuses from Tetramon, and we have damage bonuses from Blood Raiders. Weapon design, and then also, so Tetramon have anti-warfare resistance, whereas the Blood Raiders have anti-weapon disruption bonuses, which, if you think about it, that's what the Amar use, is weapon disruption. It's also a pretty interesting note, or like it's a pretty good hint that the Tetramon sites will very likely have tracking disruption in it. And then armor resistances, capacitor capacity, which of course capacitor capacity also increases recharge rate. Or recharge rate, how much you recharge per tick. Anything visible here? Behavioral webifier, warp scrams, tracking disruption, neutralizers, sensor damps. So Tetramon heretics, do them all, baby. There may be something up here that like turns them on or off, but it really does look like they these little destroyers will do all of the E-Wars, basically. This one has newts, and that's about it. And this one has newts, and that's about it. No webs? Oh well. And then this is the hacking system, right? So there's also data sites to hack. So these will be the cans inside of them. And there's Crimson Harvest node networks and Tetramon node networks. I bet you that some of these sites will spawn in maybe a Mars space, and some of them will spawn in Crimson Heart, like Blood Raider, low-sec, null-sec space. I don't know. We'll see. Also, I forgot to mention this, but this association with Artichoper, there is a close association with Artichoper and House Tetramon, if I didn't mention that earlier. I believe. Some Amarian guy will probably correct me if I'm wrong. All right, so that is a lot of information about the Crimson Harvest, but that's not all of the information that we have that's worth looking at. No, not that there's no cruisers. Remember, this is only detecting things being added. So there has been other ships and assets being put in previously in previous like patches or whatever. This is just what we're catching right now. So I would not be surprised. And we also, I mean, they have assets from last year too. Just updating skins, other stuff. Mutaplasmids, which we'll get into. All right. And then in the strings, let's see if there's anything about the Crimson Harvest before I jump into anything else. Yeah. Here we go. During the Crimson Harvest, the Blood Raider cultist pirates will be clashing with the fundamentalist warrior monks of the Order of Tetramon across New Eden. Choose a side and support, and you will receive agency challenges with additional rewards each time you attack or hack the sites that belong to your side's enemies. So there you go. This will choose which faction's agency challenges you wish to receive for the Crimson Harvest event. You will receive extra rewards for attacking and hacking the other side. So, this is your first opportunity to actually, tangibly side with a pirate faction. That's pretty cool. The rewards for each faction are equivalent, and you will not be penalized for attacking both sides. Oh, okay, so you can attack both sides? I'm not sure how I understand that. I do, like, this line freaks me out, because during the Mimitar one, it said the fact of rewards are equivalent and doesn't show you what rewards were available ahead of time. And so a lot of people felt that it said, oh yeah, you'll get the same rewards either way. And then they make a choice, and then they realize that that's not true, and they can't take it back. It's too, they don't even understand the situation until it's too late. That sucked. So I hope that this is not a repeat of that mistake, and instead is them figuring out how to do it right, but we'll see. There's the final descriptions of the rogue drone analysis beacons, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. This is all the rogue drone stuff. Rogue drone stuff. Rogue drone stuff. Rogue drone stuff. T-shirt. The Blood Raiders are a fanatical splinter cell of the ancient cult called Seedsaplenty, which uses blood in their rituals. So this is just a basic description. This is going to be probably one of the... There'll be a like Blood Raider apparel crate as a login reward or something. These is the skins. Here are the boosters. The cerebral this is the accelerators. Information on Blood Raiders. The Blood Raider Covenant is a particularly gruesome sect of Seedsaplenty cult. While all modern Seedsaplenty rituals use blood in some manner or another, the Blood Raiders Covenant places particular value on it and will go to great lengths to acquire it in what they believe is the richest and most unspoiled sources. They're considered among the most dangerous and deprived of all pirate elements operating in space. This is probably just the, as you can see here, this is just the description of the event, because the whole concept of the Crimson Harvest is once a year, the Blood Raiders go on this big campaign to, like, get a bunch of blood for their rituals for the rest of the year. They also happen to really like, they used to believe that, like, the blood of innocents, like virgins or children, are the most, like, pure and best. But now that they're Capsuleers, they actually think that clone blood is like perfect. So they want our blood. So that's what the Crimson Harvest is all about, and that's why it happens every year. Just so happens to be on our around our modern day Halloween. And then the Order of Saint Tetramon is an Amar religious order known for its fanatical followers and radical scriptural, theoretical, and militant doctrines. The order is named for Saint Tetramon, an Artichoper noble who assassinated his grandfather, the Emperor Zaragam II, in response to the incredibly maniac and heretical actions of the Mad Emperor. Order of Saint Tetramon was also banned from the Empire for a while, held out in Concord space, and then was brought back into the fold of the Empire a little bit by Jamil, but really by when Jamil was killed during their the Amar championship. They were basically allowed back into the Amar fold and have aggressively taken over as kind of the arbiters of morality within the Amarian system. There's also a lot of questions with that when it comes to the EOM cult and all that stuff, but we're not getting into that right now. This text is probably simply when you go to select one of the two, this is what tells you about the two. That's all. And then here we see that there's halt the harvest, enter a Crimson Harvest Gauntlet site, destroy 10 Blood Raiders, and destroy the final Blood Raider battleship in a Crimson Gauntlet Harvest site. Man, I hope this isn't based on like loot rights again. Like, I really hate this problem where you get stuck in 3, like especially somebody who doesn't have the ability to like race very well, like an alpha or something like that. They can run the sites, but often will get the site stolen from them. And this just makes it so that they can't even continue their track because you can't go back to 1 until you finish 3. Or at least that's the way it has been. I hope that that's not true this time. Anywho. And nothing there. And probably nothing. I'm not going to look in this. Well, actually, hold on. What I like to do here is look for 512. Is that right? No. I look for little carrots. Nope, we don't have anything. All right. Now I want to go back to the latest patch because there's a lot of information in the latest patch that goes into this, and then we'll bounce back to this when it comes to when we're done. So not that one. Not that one. There we go. So this is the patch that they introduced a lot of the Rogue Drone stuff. This is the one on Tuesday, I think it was. I've talked about on the stream before that there's a lot of Upwell stuff and Edencom stuff in these files that were introduced on Tuesday, like they were snuck in, right? So we have the stuff that was involved in the Ulai site down, we have the Svarog clade stuff and Velez clade stuff. And here's the Ulai system stuff. In fact, they even say Ulai, and these are just, non-collidable or large collidable objects with a description to help you out. This is the stuff that's in the site. That is not what this is. This is different. And so they've been introducing a whole bunch of Edencom stuff all the way up from before the SEC sites have come out in a way that, like, originally I thought the SEC sites were going to be ran by Aegis. Well, I guess they technically do have Aegis defenders, but my point is that this seems to suggest that they're doing something bigger. And then you have things like the construction dock with the description. If you have the right equipment, you might be able to hack the security of the facility to steal some resources. And then, whereas the previous security forces specifically got changed to say that they are part of the SEC, these say that they are guarding a capital ship security facility. So there's a big implication that there's something else happening on top of the increased rogue drone stuff. Also, you see that there's a power generator and a wreck. That's kind of interesting. Maybe they're both large collidable objects, so it probably isn't like you destroy this to make this, but hard to say. Edencom factory frame and docks, superstructure, factory active. So there's active factories and not active factories. This, and while like some of these descriptions might be stand-in from things that they've copied before, like this may just be they somehow copied a spawn container, and who knows why it's this. This one, I think, is a relatively new description. So this gate control will redirect the gates to the way station area, whereas before it pointed towards a decoy beacon. So the concept is that the gate is pointed the wrong place until you hack it. This might be part from the ESS sites. There were ESS mechanics on the high-sec systems for a day. I honestly think that was more just playing, like them working on the back-end stuff, but we'll see, maybe. But yeah, the secure facility also says it can be hacked, and there's stuff in the strings too. So, okay. Anything else with the Edencom stuff? Hold on. Yeah. So this description isn't just like you can hack it and get something out of it. It says, and offline its security features. And it's the text on the secure shield facility. So that's interesting. Also, oh no, that's later. We'll get to that later. Okay, so now let's talk about rogue drones. As we can see, they added in on Tuesday the rogue drone analysis beacon. However, from my understanding, it still can't be built, but it's in the files. You could actually, like, pull it up. I could go here and go, I could lose my mind looking at this. Hold on. It's called Concord, right? Where is it? Ah, Concord Rogue Analysis Beacon. So... open up my notepad under utilities. Paste this in. This is live on Sissy, or on Tranquility rather. So it's there, it's ready as stats. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. And but it has a description that's pending. And it has a bunch of this, all the rules, right? A lot of people have done analysis of this, so either way, whatever. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, too. So, but one of the things that CCP has been talking about is, the reward for these is one of the things that CCP has been kind of coy about. But of course, we also have the new drone mutaplasmids. And so that, it's pretty easy to put 2 and 2 together and say that probably these mutaplasmids and the rogue drone survey data is going to be the reward for doing these event sites, right? Or not these event sites, but these towers that you can put down, right? So each of these drone mutaplasmids will have, you can either do a speed mutaplasmid, a tank mutaplasmid, or, damage mutaplasmid, tank, and there's small, medium, heavy, sentry, and even fighters, and drone damage amplifier. Fighter support unit and drone damage amplifier. So there's tons of new mutaplasmids to come out of this. And once again, we can actually come up here, open this up, grab all of these, go on to Tranquility, and then enter them into a notepad. And so we have the survey data, which isn't really giving us anything. That's probably just the red loot that you turn in to Concord or whatever. So these, you can see the stats that they up and down, right? So given the fact that one of the things I remember talking to CCP Rise about during the early days, like right after Abyss had come out, all that stuff. We got together. He was at one of the Pacific Northwest get-togethers, and he talked about mutaplasmids and the Abyss and rewards and stuff. And I said, like, what I'd really like to see is the ability to lock in one of the attributes, right? To be able to make it so it can't go bad. Like, even if there was like a secondary item I could introduce that would allow me to then get more out of the drone or out of the mutaplasmid, or at least make it so that I can commit extra resources to make it so that the mutaplasmid is more likely to go my way. They obviously didn't do that exactly, but given the fact that there are all these different kind of mutaplasmids, you get to pick which attribute can't get bad, right? So the speed mutaplasmid makes it so that maximum velocity cannot go down. It can only go up. Damage makes it so that damage can't go down. It can only go up. Tank, same thing. Drone damage amplifier is way more standard, although what's weird is that this one doesn't have any terminology at all, but we'll maybe look at that in a second. Mutaplasmids usually have like grades and names to their grades, so this would be like an unstable, but who knows. And then, of course, the fighter support unit, right? So these are the basic drones, mutaplasmids that we have. Again, I want to suspect that these are going to be, and they can be used with any drone of that kind. I want to suggest that these are going to be the reward for the running the drone sites, right? Or the beacons. That's my assumption, at least. Now, that assumption is reinforced by the fact that the description pending here is not pending on Sissy. So, jumping back to Hoboleaks, that we can finally go back to today's patch. Yesterday's patch? Yeah. No, today's patch. Oh, wait, hold on. Another one happened an hour ago? During the Crimson Harvest, the Blood Raider cultist pirate will be clashing with... Yeah. I think... Yeah, we just looked at all these. Oh, Black Hat. The Black Hat. This has got to be the hacking one. Tetramon, node hacked. Yeah. Black Hat. Hack a Tetramon node network. Yep. Halt the harvest. Any rate, a little bit further back. Did I mess this up? One second. Oh, I think I can go, yes. I can diff tranquility versus singularity and get it. Nothing there, but in the strings, we have a whole bunch of strings that have been filled out. So, all of the there's a bunch of road drones that have been added in, including the new ones that are on Sissy now, or just got put into tranquility. And here's the description of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing because whatever, it's just saying that there's road drones. The interesting thing at the bottom here is these new infestations appear to be related to the unshackled overminds that are speculated to have come into contact with the Triglavian collective while remaining independent. Concord theorists from the Directive Omega-15 section have speculated that exposure to Triglavian information warfare and subsequent adaptation to it has resulted in accelerated evolution within these rogue drone swarms. Okay. So, up until now, we haven't really known what the Unshackled Overmind was outside of the rogue drones that are in Postfin that are not on the side of the Triglavians. It even says that in their description, that they are not working with the Triglavians, it would seem. However, this suggests that the reason why they're unshackled, or the thing that makes them different, is that they have been come into contact with Triglavians and not joined them. So in the rogue drone data streams, you see this, and even in Zoria's video, it says deviant automata must conform or be extirpated. And we've put a lot of focus on the conform part, those that became Subornos and by joining the Nafka Overmind. But the files, or the logs of Triglavians talking about the rogue drones speak about two other kinds of rogue drones. One are rogue drones that are so primitive that they consider them vermin and not sentient. But there's also the possibility of rogue drones that do not conform to the Nafka, that when given the opportunity, refuse. And what this is suggesting is that either one of those groups, now that they've come into contact with the Triglavians, have somehow advanced themselves even further, which is really interesting considering, like, my theories about the rogue drones, their development of technology, and the possibility that the Unshackled Overmind is associated with the Drifters. I don't know. It makes me wonder what Unshackled means. Is the thing that they don't like about the Drifters the fact that they're not in charge? We've always thought that the Unshackled and Forbidden Dominance arrangement is about, like, the Drifters controlling the Sleepers, but this seems to suggest maybe what they don't like to be shackled, or what Unshackled means, is not tied to a group, and that is seen as being a violation to the Triglavians, perhaps. I don't know, man. Like, the Triglavian methodology seems to be an interesting combination of, like, individual, not freedom, but the idea of, like, finding the best means that, like, one individual is more right than the other individual, as it were. Things are proven, as it, But this also seems to suggest that while they are against hive linking and other things like that, the idea of not being shackled is a problem? I don't know, man. That's an interesting one. The Unshackled Overmind rogue drone intelligence directing these huge vessels also appear to have appropriated and adapted Triglavian mutaplasmid technologies for their own purposes. Again, I also think that Triglavians, or the rogue drones, probably adapted to Isogen 5 and may, in fact, have been the creators of the filaments. So that's kind of an interesting thing from a lore standpoint when it comes to them, but that's not the only thing that's here. We also see some more descriptions about the beacon itself. The crab beacon. Then the mutaplasmids have a description that says that, this bioadaptive mutaplasmid tool appears to share elements with both Triglavian and rogue drone technologies. First encountered as a key Triglavian tool for mutating the performance of various pieces of technology, this mutaplasmid is designed to colonize and radically alter a light combat drone. It is possible this application was originally developed for use with rogue drones controlled by the Triglavians, but hives controlled by the so-called Unshackled Overminds have also adapted it. As with their repurposing of the technologies of New Eden's core empires, independent rogue drones clearly have no difficulties when it comes to using these characteristically Triglavian technologies. This line is likely referring to the fact that a lot of the new rogue drones are different battleships. And while the rogue drones that were shaped like Dominic's are because that's the ship that they first stole, and therefore that's what they model themselves after, the other ships have descriptions that clearly indicate that it is a Raven or whatever that has been taken over by Triglavians. Or not Triglavians, rogue drones. The mutaplasmid colony integrated into this bioadaptive tool is very unusual, even by the standards of this bizarre Triglavian technology. It appears that rogue drone nanotechnology elements have successfully stabilized the potential for enhancements of navigation and spatial orientation functions. On the other hand, that's because this is a navigation. I'm sure that the combat one says combat stuff. On the other hand, mutation ranges and other functions are rather unstable. Triglavian bioadaptive technology makes extensive use of engineering colonies of exomorphic bacteria that are then used to grow, harvest, and adapt various resources found in the abyssal dead space. Artificial colonizing plasmids integrated into the specialist tools used for direct adaptation of technology can be found in Triglavian caches in various stages of development, i.e. the decayed, unstable, and gravid. These mutaplasmids can be used to alter the characteristics of a wide variety of equipment types, depending on the strain of bioadaptive tools for which they are integrated. And here we see the name of the potency, right? So this is the exigent. There's exigent, and then there is radical. So there's exigent and radical mutaplasmids. And these once mutated, they actually turn them into a mutated rogue drone. And so that means it's a totally different unit. It has a different appearance. It looks like a rogue drone. It's no longer the light drone that it once was. This light combat drone has been bizarrely altered by a mutaplasmid tool that is both Triglavian and rogue drone technologies. While the resultant drone unit may be enhanced in various ways and changed for the worse in others, it's certainly much more grotesque than its original form. Techniques developed for controlling Or's successful excavator line of mining drones based on pacified rogue drone technology appear to be working satisfactorily to restrict the rogue elements of the mutated drone. Then again, this is a combat drone equipped with adaptive tactical intelligence systems. Creepy. All right, so let's look into that a little bit more. If you go back into the client, we search for excavators. Now, I don't know whether or not this is actually meaning anything, because like CCP do like to like sprinkle these in all the time. But the description of the excavator drone says, reverse engineering of the active specimens collected last quarter in the UTAC FQ21 has proven even more fruitful than initially projected. We estimate completion of the shippable product within the next redacted. Disruption of the project during the ownership transfer has been minimal, largely due to the location of primary development at our facility in redacted. These machines have evolved incredible harvesting capabilities during their period of isolation. Our teams encountered the signs of redacted during the latest expedition, which led them to suspect the potential of redacted within infested regions. Although this hypothesis may explain the scale of unrestricted drone mining harvesting, it does raise some serious questions concerning redacted and redacted. At the direction of Omega-15, which is what we saw that earlier, compliance reports awaits redacted and will be sent to redacted list. Yaron Hura, or Special Research Liaison, Project Reaper Quarterly Report. Insufficient clearance for unredacted access. Please contact the Department of Friendship and Mutual Assistance if you're receiving this message in error. If you go back to venture endurance, that's what it is. All right, we'll get there. Show info, variations, endurance. The endurance is part of Operation Frostline. Operation Frostline is the OR's experimental resource extraction line. This predates Triglavian Collective. This ship was specifically designed to go into shattered wormholes in order to mine ice, for example. This was their first product line. And to that end, it says, after the success of the venture, mining frigate OR spun their growing frontier exploration, exploitation, and technology division into new subsidiaries. One of the first products undertaken by the newly configured OR conglomerate was the development of a new line of expedition frigates designed to meet the needs of the riskiest and most lucrative harvesting operations. The Endurance is being released under OR's Frostline branding and combines improved ice mining systems as well as well-proven mining frigate frame that so well the basis of the venture and prospect class. Unique subsystems and fittings coupled with the new compact ice mining laser design gives the Endurance a unique ability to harvest ice from the frigate class hull. In addition to this, the creators of the Endurance managed to retain much of the stealth technology the expedition frigates have become known for. Cool. Why am I talking to you about Frostline or the Endurance? Because the second product that Frostline came up with was the reindeer filaments. The reindeer filaments, which would eventually become needlejack filaments. Man, here we go. Oh, come on. Did they get rid of them? Or I can't. Oh, that's right. They decayed. This isn't going to be here, is it? Nope. Shoot. Well, give me a second. Yeah, they're expired. You can actually still look at them, but they're hidden from these, searches. So, but here we have the description, which reads, Frostline Laboratories, a subsidiary division of Outer Ring Excavation, continues to be a leader of the development of new technologies and expedite resource extraction in hostile environments. Filaments acquired from skirmishes with Triglavian collective vessels have proved a wealth of information to study emergent metaliminal storms, such as volatile ice storms. Our clear interest to resource extraction technologies. To further the spirit of Yule and continue expanding in their data pool, Frostline is choosing to share their latest variants of their transportation filaments with capsuleers across New Eden. For a limited time, pilots will be able to use these experimental metaliminal filaments to more quickly travel to locations affected by volatile ice storms across New Eden. That isn't even the same one that I remember, but shoot. They probably did overwrite it, didn't they? All right, well, either way, the original one, which is what eventually became the, would eventually become the Needlejack filaments, was the idea that, so Needlejack is another one of those clues where the rogue drones in the Abyss are known as needles, and the filaments that are developed. Actually, never mind. I'm so silly. Following the success of the Frostline Laboratories experimental trials with Triglavian filament technology, the Outer Ring Excavation Group authorized the commencement of Project Needlejack. Working in conjunction with Frostline or Technologies, was able to refine the technology at a cost-effective product, even though the means of precisely establishing a conduit destination continues to elude scientists. Mature production models include a filament device that opens a conduit able to transport 15 ships, blah, 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 blah. Right? So, in other words, OR Laboratories has represented two things throughout basically its entire existence. One is experimental resource extraction, but two, specifically, rogue drones. And while this does say that it's Triglavian filament technology, as we talked about yesterday, I believe that it's possible that the rogue drones were the ones that manufactured the filaments for the Triglavians in the first place, and that the original filament technology came from the rogue drones adapting Isogen 5, which they were exposed to during the Apocrypha chain of events. So, or before. So, following that chain of thought, you see that OR continues to experiment with rogue drone technology with this kind of optimistic assumption that this won't go terribly poorly. Yeah. Augmented mining drones. This advanced mining drone is based on rogue drone technology, optimized for impressive efficiency by the wild and hostile artificial intelligences. Drone AI experts were initially surprised by how easy this technology was adapted for capsuleer interfacing, almost as if the rogue drones had designed their mining equipment for human use. Again, look, CCP likes to put in these kind of but maybe it's dangerous. I don't know if it's ever going to be anything, but it is worth noting that these rogue drone, hold on.
I'm reminding you, get my recruitment code.
Oh gosh, I got to get my recruitment code for Final Fantasy. Thanks. Anyway, that was exciting. Okay, so, yeah, a revitalization project initiated in YC-118 has updated the venerable harvester drones with their latest in mining drone technology. Initially sold to Empire-based mining operations under the cluster, blueprints eventually ended up in the capsuleers, blah, 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 blah. Oh, no, this is actually not rogue drone. This does not refer to rogue drone stuff. I wonder whether or not this has anything, special in the blueprint about it. Yeah, so this one takes just normal stuff, and this one takes rogue drone shit. That's pretty funny, actually. And this takes rogue drone shit. Absolutely. Awesome. So there's nothing spooky going on at all. I'm sure that these mutaplasmids are fine. Go ahead and make all of your drones into rogue drones and name them Bob. All right. Is there anything else to cover? I'm going to just scroll through this real quick. Oh, one last thing to look into. Something that they haven't talked about that I've seen about these new road drone sites, or rather the towers, is that now, according to the text, it seems to suggest that there's a new thing that's required. Complex encryption qubits. So now you not only need the structure to deploy, but you also need a sufficient number of these complex encryption qubits. Otherwise, you cannot link. And likewise, if the star system is under signal interference, you cannot link. I assume that this statement is simply saying that you can't do it in HiSec. But this one is weird. Also, actually, now that I see this, this says that signal interference can be none, low, medium, or high. Which if it was security, there would be none, low, and high. So this must be something else. There's something that controls how much interference is in the signal. Don't know what that is yet. But linking to this beacon uses complex encryption qubits, or CEQs, which will increase signal interface in the star system. So apparently you have to use enough of these CEQs based on how much signal interference are in the system. Linking takes so many minutes. During this time, you can't move. Crimson Harvest skin stuff. Crimson Harvest booster stuff. Crimson Harvest. Yep, that's it. That's it. That's all the stuff. So there's lots of stuff going on, and I hope that all of that news is useful. That analysis is useful. Hopefully it'll come handy later. But other than that, I'm going to close this up for now. If you are watching this as just the video that's just this one topic, there's going to be also a video that's the entire stream and other videos that are cut out from the other various parts of the stream, trying something new if you're checking this out on YouTube. So if that is you, then thank you for watching, and I'll see you in space.